It is time for a mega update. This video is going to be huge, but it's just easier to get it all done in one, isn't it? I've got a rare day off because it's a storm day today. So we're expecting 50-mile-an-hour winds, which is whatever that is in kilometers an hour. And therefore, I'm going to use the time to record as an update, just like I did last time. I had a day off in January. And then we can discuss and talk about some stuff. So this video is mainly about the farmhouse. So much has changed. And so many of you have been hounding me for updates, with Dan boring around in the background. First of all, I'm going to start outside because I'll just do a super quick brief animal update, and then we will go into the farmhouse, which, if you remember from the last video, is now naked. You might not know that we've had a drought summer, and even up here it's been really bad. So I've been waiting for the grass to blooming grow, and it didn't. So we've had to move fat camps around. When I left you on the last video of the horses, we had talked about the situation with Tuna because she was like an overweight whale. And she was so close to getting laminitis, which, if you don't know horses, the hoof kind of falls apart because they're fatties and getting too much sugar. So we made fat camp, we made a track, and then they ate the track down, so we made it a larger field. So then that happened. Valia was away, she was away for schooling. She's now not away. So that's the first of my updates. Baby Vivi came home and is up the duff. Woo! So Valia is carrying, she's confirmed in fall now. We did all of her stud work in June. She should fold, June. So she should fold end of May 2026. Valia's baby daddy is Norgard's Jason, who is an absolutely wonderful nab stripper stallion. Technically he's classified as a pony, but Valia's height in her breeding should help to just give us a little bit more in terms of that. So I'm hoping for 15.3-ish. She has a grading in September, and that's what we've been working towards. But yeah, so she's on slightly better grass. She's showing that, but overall she's good. And then we had rain, and we haven't had rain for months. And very, very quickly, Fat Camp 2.0 turned into Quagmire 1.0. August in Scotland, love that for us, love that. Connie is growing really well, as you can see. She was clean the other day. You stood awfully, Pudding. Connie's looking great in general. Yearling filly, and yeah, she's just easy. She's easy. She's not grown enough, guys. The other animal update that I need to do is the other half of our water trough, because this is the horse's half. So what is in that half? For those of you who follow the blog, where I do updates every single week for stuff that's happening and going on the farm, you guys will know that we also have got some more new additions. Now I need to somehow make it into that field without getting electrocuted. I'm gonna jump. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Clear. In this field, which was ex-Fat Camp, so this was Fat Camp beforehand, we have our newest additions to the farm, which are the sheeps. So we have our own sheepsies. The sheep thing, in brief, auctioneer friend John gave us a heads up that we ought to probably come to the store lamb sale. And then he helped us with the lots. I had a look at them all, looked at everybody's legs and feet, and picked this 6. There's only 6 of them, which is fine. It's a good number to start with. But these guys had the best feet. And then we bid on them in the auction, and then brought them home, and then now they're here. So legally they're registered to me, but they prefer Dan. I mean, don't blame them. One of them, I think, is a little bit lame, and I need to figure out who is lame. You're not. You're not. Anyone else like to move today? Itchy Scritchy's not. Let's get moving, girls. You're not. Right, so I've got 2 left. The one lying down hasn't moved. Don't know if that one's lame. No. So are you lame? You, literally you are a you, but are you lame? One at the back with more brown. Okay, so no one's lame. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. One of them was hopping yesterday. What was it about sheep? The other thing is the silage field. I'm calling it silage field now because the last cut was silage. So we've done 2 cuts this year. Didn't grow very well for the first cut at all because there was no rain at all, even though it was a bit slurry on it from the cow shed, etc, etc. But yeah, just didn't grow. I'm gonna duck under this bit. Oh, I might be able to crawl. I feel like I can crawl under this. This probably isn't very sheep proof at all. Look, you could fit a whole sheep under that. It's a crater. Go. Clear. All right, so animal stuff done. Thankfully no lame sheep, so that's like a win for today, because I was expecting that we were going to have to do a whole foot rot protocol or something like that, and we're not. So as a recap of the farmhouse, when we arrived there was water coming in everywhere. Every single section of roof also had water coming in, and realistically nowhere was safe, nowhere was watertight. It was just a disaster. And far worse than it was when we came and looked at the place. So that's why the original reaction was, shit, what the fuck are we gonna do here? Hi, Dan! Obviously, Dan's done all of this by himself. That's not true. You will remember this door. You will also remember that Dan sort of like stripped out the bad bits in terms of like the carpet and stuff, and then we left it over winter, which we talked about in January, because the stone was so wet everywhere because of all of the leaks that it needed to dry, right? We have needing to maybe need to go back to the insulation situation question, because we're insulated. So I feel like we maybe also need to, not here, obviously. The bit we've prioritised is the bit that's literally right in front of me. So if you remember, there was like an archway that would have been in front of me. It's not facing you, Dan, and I'm not turning it around yet. We're not going to give it away because there's too much has changed. What we did was, we were told we needed to do this middle section because specifically upstairs was sketchy and downstairs was not great, and there was evidence for damp and woodworm and etc, etc. So the surveyor agreed with us in terms of what our plan was, and therefore that's what we've done. First point of that was ripping everything out. And when I say everything, I mean everything. So the house consists of 3 different sections, the north, the middle and the south. We'll talk about the middle section here. Everything was ripped out. So Dan took down all of the internal walls, all of the wall linings that bordered external walls. Let's just get Dan to explain what we did, because get the expert in. Wait, come here so you're close to my microphone.
So what I did was rip out all the wall linings, everything back to bare stone, then downstairs took the ceiling down and lifted up all the floorboards, lifted it up to the subfloor, so there was nothing but solid concrete subfloor in the old dining room.
Hold on that for a hot sec.
And soil in the other bits.
Right, so weird things happened, guys. We all thought that the floorboards were original. They're not. We also thought that this section hadn't been touched. It has. There's been underpinning, modern work. And then we also all thought that the sort of like arch situation that was in the library room, the living room, the one we find the fireplace in, we all thought that that was also original, the arch thing, and it's not. So everything that we thought was original wasn't, but Dan found an absolute raging gem in what will be my, in me. Oh, nugget. Yeah. In what will be my office. Didn't you?
I did, yeah. Genuinely, it is the first and to date the only thing I've been excited about when I've ripped stuff out. Literally is the only thing I've got excited about. So, to the point where I rang Jess after revealing like 3 bits of it.
True. So Dan found an ingle nook, an old ingle nook on a wall in the old dining room, and there is no chimney on the roof line, and we've just paid to have the roof done.
Because
so
we didn't know that was there.
We didn't know that was there, and if we had, we would have reinstated a chimney there, but we haven't, and we're not able to go backwards and like Command Z on that situation to go and put a working fire in the ingle nook, and therefore we were very keen to keep it in the room, which then started a whole procedure, because at that stage now there is nothing in the middle section. You know, you're right from dirt to roof. There was nothing. Apart from the bridge.
There was no joist running the full span of like the width where it was running. It was held together by nails. It was probably 4 or 5 pieces of wood across the span, not just one piece. We haunted! Yes, there was nothing spanning it, like the full width, which is as it was.
And so because there was no downstairs room dividers or anything, the bridge actually was just left because it had a water tank, like a water cylinder thing on it, and like some plumbing and things. So without any structure underneath it, that put a pause to us clearing out our bedroom at the other side, and that could have caused a bit of an issue. So now there's no joists and there's just this bridge left. So then everybody descended on the 4th of August. So everything that you can see from kind of that point onwards all happened in the last 4.5 weeks, which is insane. So we've had legend, Kenny the electrician, Johnson Plumbers again have been in, they've been fab, and we're all set up now to essentially show you the build out. I think we should just explain the insulation because that's going to be the biggest question in terms of what we did, because there's a video on the channel of us explaining the 3 options that we have, which were external insulation around the whole property, which was not going to be our choice in general, partly because the walls are 3 foot thick. So you've got to go quite far to get to that point. So external, no. Then the next option was to do like a historically correct breathable insulation solution, which technically is still on the table. That is still on the table, isn't it? Like
for the other parts, yeah.
Correct.
This is like a trial.
So we're trialing option number 3, which is to build a house inside a house to create an insulated envelope. And there's a lot that goes into that. Feel free to like ask questions and stuff in the comments because I can run through it. But what we've gone with is a 50 mil gap all the way around the outside so that there's like a ventilation pathway all the way around, for airflow. We reinstated a wooden subfloor so that there's also cross airflow underneath the subfloor. So we've got some air moving around. But what we didn't do is go ahead and whack 150 mil king span on the external walls. Instead, we've gone for 100 mil, which should still let a little bit of heat kinda-ish get through so that we can avoid a frost point on the internal surface of the external walls. But a lot of the middle section isn't external walls anyway. There's just sort of the outside corners at this side because there isn't that's joining another house, and obviously we're in another house. It's all one house, but yeah. So before the insulation went into the suspended timber floor, the plumbers came in and they ran us some connection pipes because everything was ripped out of this middle section. So we were doing reconnections to each side of the property as well as installing some underfloor heating pipe work so that we can run overfloor, underfloor heating. Stick with me on that. And so there's going to be a manifold in the understairs cupboard, which is literally just behind you, for this downstairs section, including this room when it eventually becomes a kitchen, which isn't going to be right this second. No.
In the bit that we've done, so it's new, everything is new. So it's got new pipe work, got rid of all the old copper pipe work. And then back to Jess because I don't know what she's wanted to talk about. I just had my 2p, so it looks like I've got some value to this.
With that all said and done, we can talk about what happened. So the first thing that happened was the lintels were all changed. So the builders were in and they were doing lintel change and also structural support for the back of the inglenook because she was sketchy. At some point in history, someone's taken down the internal leaf of the external wall at the back of the hearth, the inglenook fireplace, and therefore she just needed some support. Sadly, the best way of doing that was block work. So that's been built back up with block work, which we knew we were going to hide anyway whilst keeping the inglenook exposed. Then the lads started building up the downstairs external framing. So like all of the outside walls were built first. That was the point number 1, with rough kind of doorways and windows and things like that. So the upstairs joists were all replaced. So all of the joists were replaced sitting on top of the downstairs external wall framing, if that makes any sense. So again, there's like a solid envelope, and then the upstairs wall framing kind of began at that point too, and then it all just went like gone, didn't it? Really. So then stuff was moving. The second that there was an upstairs floor in place, the electrician came back for first fix, and the plumber also did. The first fix went in, Dan helped with that actually, and then that included putting a light into the inglenook, which was a bit of a mission because you had to go through stone for that. So Dan used a narwhal tusk to get through to the back of that. And then it was time for insulation station. So insulation station began, didn't it?
Yeah.
So all of the insulation went in, which included the 100mm Kingspan on the external walls.
Yeah.
And then around the windows, slightly narrower Kingspan
50 mil.
for all of the
window reveals.
50mm for the window reveals.
On the internal stud walls, like room partitions, that was wool insulation, and again another wool insulation in the ceiling.
Yeah, so the dividing floor has got wool insulation in it as well. So we're insulated in like above the subfloor, ground floor level, we're insulated on every single wall and external touching surface. And then we're also insulated on the internals with wool.
Yeah.
But now that you know the process, I feel like we can do a bit of a walkthrough because I'm not giving anything away. So you'll notice that everything from this point, which this is the archway, onwards is modern building methods, realistically speaking. So if I show you the inside of a pocket door, so the door's going to go here where my hand is. So you've got an air gap going around the side and then the timber stud work and then insulations inside the stud work and then a VCL, vapor control layer, and then the finished plasterboard sits on the top of that. So this is the structure of the wall. Does that make sense? Welcome to the first big change, really, because this is the first big change. We are currently stood in what was the hallway. So the hallway, if you remember, it had a hole in the ceiling, which was where the bridge was. And as you can see behind me, there is now no wall. There is no wall at all. So this is our, well, this was the library, and this is our new living room / lounge area, which retains the original step. Dan, can you demonstrate the step for me? So this room will have a step here instead of it being where it used to be in terms of the door, and you'll step down onto a step and then onto the ground floor here into the living room / library, where that archway no longer exists and a media wall replaces it. It will be a nice bookcase eventually, but not it's not a priority in terms of financing and mortgageability. No. The windows have all been set up. This one's going to come out to be a full window seat. So you've got like a window seat here. And then the fireplace that we found all the way back in, I think like May last year, was it? Mm-hmm. Is now fully prepared. Well, not fully prepared, but it's nearly fully prepared for its new log burner. Had chimney sweep come, do cameras, everything. Everything was fine for the chimney. So fireplace guys have already put in the flue liner and the metal plate thing in the top. It is going to be a wider opening than this. There's a few inches of plasterboard on the overhang, but yeah, we're going to have a working fire in here. Bookcases are still in, and we've got a lot of wall lights, which Dan now knows the fancy name for.
It's a sconce. And I said to Jess the other day, when I say it, I feel like an upper class twat.
There we go. So, you know, joining in. We're at the stage where we're picking flooring, but we don't like any of them, so that's not going to happen. And then, yeah, so that's this room, and it's going to be amazing and warm.
Sexy.
What's it going to be, Dan?
Sexy.
Yeah, it is. Then you come into what was this dank, dark, cold, mouldy room with a bird ceiling. You might remember a little serving hatch that split the kitchen from this room, which is the dining room. This room is prepared to be my office, and that is, Dan's at my desk right now. So,
can you get me a cup of tea?
And then, so that's the Inglenook. As you can see, she's beautiful. She's ready for plastering.
There's going to be a lot of tea,
And there's a little cubby, bread oven style in the old Inglenook. So this wall is now actually safe and structural. It is insulated and boarded, and it's ready to go. But we are aware of the fact that this, because it's going to be exposed inside of this envelope, is going to be a cold spot, and therefore we're on moisture mitigation for damp spots forming, condensation style. This is going to have plasterboard on it on this corner before it goes back into the recess for the cupboards and stuff, but that plasterboard's there, so it just needs to go on there. But yeah, fully prepared now for office. And that little hatch that I was talking about is back to being a doorway. So it is suitable only for small persons. And the joiners and the builders were like, are you sure you don't want us to make it bigger? And I was like, no, keep it at the original height because it's perfect for me. So Dan's head's like chopped off at the top up there. But if Dan moves, so there'll be a step, obviously. But for me, I can just, there'll be a step. I'm okay. So really this is a door just for me. Now, a lot of the questions that will come from layout and stuff will be like, why have you done that? Why have you moved this? Why have you done that? It's because the eventual layout of the house suits this, and that's my access to get dogs from the future utility room, which will be in that room, into my office without them having to traipse through the whole house. So this is sort of like a kettle shortcut and paw patrol movement, isn't it? So that's downstairs. Upstairs, things are a little bit different. So the bridge obviously came away, and because we're adding a manifold upstairs too, what we also needed to do was go ahead and make sure that our utilities cupboard, which sits on that landing way, was big enough, and then an entrance to the master suite to be a little bit different. So as you can see in here, as of right this second, nothing's changed. Things will move quickly now in terms of the wall coverings. Yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. So if you remember on this hallway, it looks kind of like this. Only now the floor doesn't bend and the ceiling's not bent, and everything, including the little roof light, has got new framing, new boarding, obviously. Also all new electrics and plumbing. I don't know if anybody remembers what this room was. This room was the one where on that wall there, Dan smashed a hole through it and he said, "Oh, is that's that piece of wall." So this room's had a bit of a change because we've gone with the vault. So we've exposed the original trusses, which have got absolute gems on them. So Daniel, can you just do a little quick explanation about what you found?
So I sanded these trusses back, and when I got to this one, which is the fourth one, because you've got the first two over there, there's one that's obviously not left exposed in the hallway landing, and then this one and that one. I saw this. I was like, what the F is that? Like, why is that there? Obviously it wasn't as clear as that. And then I looked down at the ones I'd done, and you could see the Roman numerals for 3, 2, 1, because back in the day when they were done, they'd been done like, what did we say it is?
It's like 1800s IKEA flat pack. That's what we've uncovered here. So the crossbeam on the truss is marked with a Roman numeral of 5, and then both of the A-frame pieces.
Somewhere on here, but you can't see it because of the insulation and boarding.
Yeah. So on each side there is corresponding Roman numerals. So we're definitely keeping those exposed. Now there will be a question over what the is that? Why is that doing that? Easiest way of explaining it is go back and look at the roof videos. Easiest way to explain it. This A-frame piece of this truss is not structural, because at some point in the late 1800s, we think they just rammed some dormer windows right where it needed to sit on the wall head. So there's an additional truss piece to extend the roof line outwards, which is why it's not visible, and then also coming down each sides laterally to sit on the wall head. So structurally we've had, everyone's fine with it, we're good. It just visually looks a bit odd, so these still need finishing. Dan has a plan, don't you, Dan?
I have a plan.
And it's whether we could do that. So then that is our new window reveals, which looks pretty much exactly like the old one in here, because it did have insulation weirdly on this one.
And that is the depth of the wall, barring like
yes.
150 mil roughly.
So that depth, I don't know how to do a demonstration, right? So I don't know how deep it is, but like fairly chunky. So that's the depth of the walls on the internals. And then this is a beautiful room. So dead chuffed with this one. Just doing some moving on the cables in here. But then the other room is kind of a mirror image.
Slightly small.
Da 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 da. Please come in. Did you just hit your head?
No.
Okay, good. Not quite finished, not quite finished. Still needing to prep. So this is sort of like what we were starting with in a fashion, right? So yeah, not quite finished. Windows all need to be changed, but again, it's not a this year problem. If we had all of the money in the world, everything.
The windows would have been done first before the plasterboard and everything.
Yeah, because that makes logical sense. But yeah, beautiful high ceilings. No wardrobes will get stuck in here. So this was wardrobe room, blue room, mold house. That's all, you know, a thing of the past, realistically speaking. And we have a wonderful space. That's kind of it. Feels like we've
got a nice big utilities cupboard.
Oh yeah, the plumber was like loving life, knowing
the modern day Harry Potter.
Knowing that the utilities cupboard was quite so sizable. So we'll just pop you in from one end. Well, yeah, Dan's feet are where the water tank's going to go.
A water tank.
Dan is a water tank.
I identify it as a water tank.
Right, okay.
Underfloor heating manifold, and then that'll be the new fuse board.
Oh, what? You're not putting your leg up?
I just did.
No, to the fuse board.
I can't get me like that, aye.
Oh, like down. Okay. Yeah. And then some shelves where we are, really, is what's going to be. Yeah. With some double doors that are going to go on the front there, so that you can still squeeze past if someone is in the cupboard. So, yeah. And then...
the lock on the outside to shut Jess in.
This is the entryway to the master suite, which looks really no different.
Well, apart from the ceiling.
Apart from there's no ceiling and stuff in it. So all of the prep work's done so that Dan can just go in, finish boarding and insulating in a couple of other sections that we're going to do this year, and then plaster.
Yeah, they aren't done to this level.
No, but they're done to presentable and functional, and we can live in it.
Yes.
Because at the moment, without insulation in that room, it is not livable.
Yeah, so I'm just going to insulate the ceiling, leave an airflow gap on the flat roof.
Yeah.
Insulate that, plasterboard it, plaster the ceiling, skim anywhere else that needs skimming to make it presentable.
Because that bit's kind of modern stuff anyway, because all the boxes that have been added on are brick and gypsum. So running with that, and then the patching up that needs to be done elsewhere. I'll just give you a brief heads up on where we're at.
You mentioned we've had woodworm treatment.
Ringworm treatment.
Yeah, ringworm.
You're on at livestock at the moment, talking about ringworm.
Ringworm.
So what have we had?
Woodworm treatment. Because there was signs of woodworm either present or in the past. Just did a research, runs on 3-year cycle, only presentable between May and September or some jargon like that. And obviously if that's seen by a mortgage valuer, whoever it is that comes out, then we hit a problem. So we paid for someone to come out and treat all the woodwork with woodworm treatment.
Yeah.
So we couldn't come in for a day.
So we have the certificate, which is required. I don't think we're fully qualified for anything.
Swimming certificate. I swam 100 metres today.
Okay, so this was a hole from a leak. You guys might remember it. And it is now a strip of a hole. Because the leak has gone, she's dried out sufficiently, we're happy with it. So Dan's just going to patch up. That's a patch situation, then we'll redecorate quickly and cheaply. These bits are patch situations. They'll be patched and redecorated. So that's what's happening in the newer section that is now watertight and structurally sound. Welcome to the wardrobe graveyard.
There is, but it's all going to be upcycled, none to waste.
No, everything will get used again. So yeah, that's kind of it for downstairs. The only other thing that we need to do is...
Downstairs? You're bloody upstairs.
I meant upstairs. Can we just go downstairs because I show everybody Agatha?
R.I.P. to the Agatha you used to be. Cooking days are over.
There's no point going in there because this is a storeroom for our entire life that we moved from Yorkshire. Well, I know we need to go do fencing. So into now the dark oldest part of the building where she looks fun. This will come up really well, really quickly. So if anyone's looking at a house and it kind of looks like this...
Don't buy it.
There's no dramas really at this stage. No dramas. This isn't that bad. You can patch this. This is like...
Yeah, not everybody can. Not everybody's got skills. Not everybody wants to patch.
Well, I think everyone should...
Some people want to buy a new build tinderbox that'll work be there in 20 years.
All of the other halves who are project managing this kind of thing, just put your other half, the doer person, onto a 3-day plastering course.
But don't, when your house is stripped back and you've got a long way to go, start looking at fucking light switches and stuff and saying, can I buy them? I'm like, no, you're nowhere near that. Get lost.
Agatha has gone. This is Agatha. So Agatha was in here in the kitchen. Dan, do you remember you said some really nasty stuff about Agatha when we first moved in? It wasn't about it was about the room, wasn't it? How many families? Well, I know how many
have
families
died.
No, not have died. Dan. Anyway, Agatha was DOA, dead on arrival, and there was just no point. And thankfully we actually didn't. So in August, Agatha was removed from here, and she met her final resting place after being dismembered. So she was basically broken here into pieces, and then put into the metal skip, realistically speaking, wasn't she?
In the skid steer first.
She was, Ben's skid steer and then into the metal skip. So Agatha is now gone. So then that leaves a question of what is happening here. Well, the chimney had some damage. Chimney's all repaired. Everything's ready to go. Agatha's liner was taken out when Agatha was taken out. And then we've also done a new flue liner because there's going to be a log burner in here, which a log burner in a kitchen, I get it, but it is literally for the future. In that this is going to be a utility room and not a kitchen, and it's also the coldest part of the house, north facing. So what we're going to do is we're going to install a little log burner in here, and that will just help to heat the chimney stack at this side. We've got ample supplies of logs and wood. So it's just something that gives us another heat source in this very cold area that is not insulated. And it will also help to dry clothes, coats, wellies, dogs, etc. in terms of being there. So kind of like replacing the Aga's original purpose with another heating vessel, because it won't be needed for cooking. So this is another part of the next couple of months.
Cement board, plaster board, and then plaster, paint, fire, warm.
Outside, from a chimney perspective, every single chimney has been re-flaunched.
Re-what?
Flaunched. Is that right?
In layman's terms, it's been taken down a course or two. It's had a piece of lead put over the top with the hole for the chimney to come out of. Then the couple of courses built back up, any other holes in the chimney stack filled in, and then mortar material to rehaunch it up to the chimney stack, so the rainwater, when it comes on, they'll just run off. And it won't seep into the brickwork, down the chimney stack, into the walls, and cause damp issues.
We already knew that a couple of the chimneys were bad when they actually got up there with the scarf.
They didn't realise how bad.
So there was like an actual gaping hole in what is the big snooker room.
Not just that, when the fire people came out, when Fireplace Direct came out,
yeah,
they'd put the fire in our storeroom.
Yeah, they did the original fit.
Said then that they were always called out because there was issues with the fire, and they said that it's because your chimney stack's not great and it was also never touched. That's why that fire's got rust on it.
So we're watertight on the external. And then the only other thing that we probably need to mention from an external perspective is that some bits of brick have been switched for stone, and any holes, and that's the important part, any holes have been filled in with lime mortar. What we're not doing this year is a full repointing. We were going to, we've paused, reevaluated the situation.
And it's going to be a damn mission.
And it's going to be a damn mission for next year, hopefully, if we're still here. And
we will be here.
it's still a question mark, Dan. It's still a question mark. So should we go into then the real life situation? Well, I'll have a chat about that. Questions that have been asked recently, including this morning, were where are we at with the whole finance and mortgage thing? What is the situation? Is it going okay or not?
Depends who you ask. If you ask Jess, we're nowhere near, we're probably not going to get done, we're going to have an issue. If you ask me, I reckon as soon as I've done my little bit of patchwork, in fact no, I reckon now. I genuinely reckon if a mortgage valuer came out, they'd lend us money. The issue we had before is that aesthetically it looked absolutely fucking diabolical, because there was mould, there was water coming in, everything like that. And but obviously we've done the roof, we've started on this, they can see progress happening. The value of the site's gone up as well because we've done the cottage, and I reckon they would. I genuinely reckon they would.
So jury's still out on that one then? I think he'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. We also have, there's some contractual things.
Like water?
like water supply and stuff that are outside of our control, but are required to break, to cause the end of the deal as well, if that makes any sense. Not the point, not stuff we're going to be talking about necessarily online, but yeah. So overall at the moment, I would say that there is probably a 95% chance that we're going to be absolutely fine, even now, like looking forwards. Dan's on 99, I'm on 95. As Dan mentioned there, the cottage is also done, and you guys haven't seen really any of that since the living room happened. And also there's the window change that's on the blog, so that's a separate YouTube video that's not public, but it's there. In terms of the cottage, we do need to do like a reveal situation of the cottage, especially, well, mainly on the internals really. But Dan won't let me do that yet, so that's why there's been a gap.
The issue is that we're still living in it. We've got 5 dogs which is fine. No, there's no issue. They're not crammed in or anything. But there's 5 dogs in a 3-bedroomed house that is also our offices.
It's not set up as it's going to be, if that makes sense. So we're just going to wait till we've probably jumped back in here maybe. This is getting really long, so I feel like that's it. Yeah? Any questions, drop them in the comments, but don't be an arsehole because I'll delete them anyway. Okay?
Bye for now.